Bob here, Chopper Bob Customs, back on the 39 Ford Carson top build. Today I'm working with T-nuts. If you're not familiar with T-nuts, this is a T-nut right here. It's got a barrel that has standard thread in it. This is 1/4 inch coarse, 1/4 inch 20 threads on it. And then it has these spiky things right here that bury themselves in the wood so that this cannot turn. So you have this mounted in the wood, and you bring your bolt in like this, and you can tighten it up as though you've got a threaded hole in your wooden part. And here, let me show you on the header. You can see there where I've put 2 T-nuts in there, and I've got a couple of sacrificial bolts to weld some flat washers to the lock part that we made last video. And that way I can get this mounted in the header without having to worry about it falling out with wood screws and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and TIG these in real quick, hopefully real quick. I'll reset the camera so that I can blind you with the light. I need to get one of them filters for this. So let's see how my TIG welding goes today. Hopefully I won't catch this wood on fire. I'm hoping I don't have to use much rod. This happens to be 80 rod that I use to weld chrome moly, but let's see how we do here. See how rusty I am this morning. Yeah, this isn't gonna work, is it? Well, I've got it tacked in there. Let me, it shouldn't move. Let me tack the other one, and then I will take them off of here and do it on the table. Because I'm afraid I'm just getting too much heat into this wood. Let's see if I can get this. Okay. And I should probably be using non-plated washers, but camera leg. Let's see what we got down here. Yep, we all stick them every once in a while. Let's see if I can't keep the tungsten out of the puddle. Okay. Not the prettiest weld you've ever seen, but it will do the job. Let's see if I can get this cleaned up a little bit over here. On this one, probably need to brush it a little bit. Okay, so there we have it. I've got it welded up. And you probably can't see that. See if I can figure out how to get it. So I've got the ears welded on there, and that'll hold it in place on the header. So we're in good shape there. So now all I need to do is run up and buy some new wire for the MIG machine, because I ran out yesterday, and I'm going to be doing some MIG and some TIG to get this header finished up. So for right now, I'm going to shut this off and I'll be back shortly. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and, using basically where the paint was, I've located this where it needs to go. A lot of the screw holes were in really bad shape, so I tried to locate it the best I could. And rather than use wood screws on these, I'm going to go ahead and go with the drill through with the T-nuts on the other side. I've already done one because I wanted to make sure that this was all going to work. But basically, I'm going to go ahead and drill through, trying to keep it as perpendicular as possible with the 1/4 inch bit. And it's got a broken off screw in it. Okay, so that's kind of the things you run into sometimes when you're working on items that someone else has been into before. So now what we've got, I think you can see there where I broke through. Unfortunately, it's very close to this previous bolt that's probably for the correct unit. I've got 2 plugs right there, and I'm betting that there are nuts, and that could be that broken screw that I was drilling through that's in there, although I got a feeling it was probably a wood screw. So what I want to do now is I want to countersink this hole right here like I did this one, and I probably should be using a Forstner bit, but I don't have one, so I'm going to use a spade bit, and I'm going to see how this goes. Alright, that's down about the same level that that one was. And then I have to take a 5/16 inch bit because the T-nut has got a 5/16 inch barrel. I'm probably going to have to make this one a little bit deeper. Okay, let's see what the T-nut looks like in there. There we go. All right. Get that T-nut seated in there good. Usually you can feel when they stop trying to turn. The thing is, this is awful hard wood, but there, I got it seated in there. I'll probably have to trim that bolt, and I'll probably have to sink this one a little bit deeper. I'll need to check with the upholsterer to see if he wants to plug these, basically get a 3/4 inch dowel and just some carpenter's glue and drop them down in there and lock them in place. But for now, I do want to go ahead and put a couple of wood screws in this direction. And you can see where they've already had one in there, right there, but they've split the wood, most probably because they didn't drill a pilot hole. And this hard old wood like this is almost assuredly going to split. And then this one up in here, I'm going to have to determine what I'm going to do with that, because I think what I'm going to have to do is get some wood shims and build that up so that when I screw it together, it's not pulling on air. I'll have to see about that, but I'm going to go do a test fit on this real quick, and I will be right back. Okay, so I've put some, I still need to put some screws in it, but what I did was I went over and test fit it to make sure that it was in good shape, and then I ran these in and bottomed out the locking nut. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the one that is the longest, which this one's shorter than this one, and this one is shorter than this one. So this is going to be my master. None of them go in any further than this. And what I want to do is I don't want to have them so that they can be used only in one location. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and adjust this nut back until it matches that. And I'm going to do the same with this one. Okay, now with that done, I can go ahead and set the lengths, chop off the excess, and the screws will be able to go in any location. So what I'll do is I will run this down until it just touches the nylock, and then I'm going to back it off one full turn. So that'll give me about not quite a 1/16 of an inch of adjustment in the future. And I think that being said, it's really a compact piece. I'm going to go ahead and back it off 2 turns. Okay, so there's that. I'll hold that right there like that. Snug that down good and tight, and then I'll go ahead and mark that, cut it off. I'll do likewise on all 3 of them, and it will be ready to go on the car when it goes back together. Okay, everything we've done up to this point has really been to get this correct so that we can move forward with it. Now we're actually getting into the part where we're going to be doing something that I think you should do when you're building a Carson top. And that, so what we're going to have is a combination of correcting this and actually building the Carson top part of it. And I don't know whether you're interested in building a Carson top or whether you're just watching this for entertainment value or to learn some techniques that you might be able to use someplace else. I hope that whatever the case is that when you're watching this, it's been helpful that way. But right now we're actually going to get into starting to tie this piece to the other end over here, okay? And what that's going to do is that's going to isolate this wooden header so that really all it is doing is providing a mounting point for the material for the Carson top at the front of the Carson top. And then it's also going to have the place that seals to the windshield frame to keep water and other debris out of the car. So to that end, when we look at what's going on right here, we can see that it's got a gap there and then it closes up as it comes to this end. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to basically shave this wood down until it's a straight shot, because this is just about 1/8 of an inch. So if I get this set in here so that it is lined up here with the middle anchor, and it's touching, just barely touching the wood at this end, then I've done what I need to do to lay it in there, drill the holes, weld it into place. I don't know whether this is going to weld or not. We're going to try it at one end, and if I can run a bead along there, I'll weld it to it. Otherwise, we're probably, I'm looking at possibly epoxy, because there will be a screw through this piece, through the tie bar that will tie it all together. Hopefully I'll be able to get a weld on that. So to that end, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the screws out. And I haven't put the screws in permanently that go in this direction, primarily because I have to do what I'm doing right here, and I also need to figure out what I'm going to do about building that up. Now, the one thing that I do need to do is mark this so I know where the metal is going to end up. Because once I take this piece off, okay, so I've saved you all that grinding and fitting and compressor running, and I've got this ground to the point where it's going to slide in there, and ground the wood right here. And now I need to put a couple of breaks in it, one right here and one probably about right. Well, let me put this one in first and see how that's going to work. So I'm going to pause this for a second and move everything around. Okay, so this first bend doesn't have to be much, just about 8 degrees, but I wanted to try and get it just as close as I could with this to get a nice straight line on it. All right, let's take this back over and see how that's going to work. And here again, these numbers really don't mean anything to any other car other than this one right here. The next one I do will probably be completely different, but basically you just kind of have to feel your way through these pieces. So it's actually pretty close. Let's see if the camera's going to be able to pick this up or not. It runs down here. Right in through here it needs to bend. And this is probably going to be an easy bend rather than a sharp one like I needed up here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it out and see if I can, I don't know that I can get enough leverage to bend it over my knee. I'll probably bend the table. Yeah, I'm going to bend the table. Let me take it over to the brake and see if I can't get a shallow bend. So what I've got here is it's actually coming in pretty close. I need to put just a little bit more bend up here and a little bit more bend in here. Probably what I'll do is go on either side of where I bent it there, and I'll probably just tighten that up, just probably another pump of the jack, and we'll see how that fits. Okay, I've got it really, really close to where it needs to be. This is a nice fit up in here. I do need to put a little bit of a twist in it. I'm going to see if I can do this on the piece. See how strong it is. That's... Need to go a little bit further. Ooh, there's the wood cracking. I think I'm going to go over to the vise and put the rest of it in there. Yeah. Let me see. All right. That's looking really good. I'm going to have to make an angle cut here because it is just a little bit off. And I have to cut just a pie-shaped piece off of it. What I gotta do is figure out where my Sharpie fell. So I'll need to take that pie-shaped piece out of there. On this one, it's really easy because all I really need to do is eyeball it and make sure it's pretty close to being straight. The next one that I make is going to have to be a real tight fit because I'll have to run a weld bead down to catch the two of them together. Let me put this on pause. I'll go ahead and chop that off and we'll be back shortly. With the bars all fit, now what I'm going to do, I've got it tied down to the windshield frame to where it's going to be in its final resting place. And I'm going to go ahead and put 4 tacks in, 2 on the bar-to-bar connection, 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom, and then 1 each on the bar to this center locking plate. And then I can pull it out of the car and take it over to the bench and finish welding it. So let me see if I can't get in here real quick and get these tacks put in. There we go. All right. Since the fit up's a little loose on this, I'm going to go ahead and MIG it. I'll probably have to do some grinding to clean things up when I'm done. But because the fit up is so strange, I've got some fairly decent gaps in here, and taking it just wouldn't be, it would make more of a mess than it would help. So, here we go. Let's see if I can't get this run really quick. Okay. All right, so I wasn't 100% certain this was going to work, so I didn't videotape it. But as it turns out, I don't know whether this is cast iron or not. And I was hoping I'd be able to TIG it, thinking that TIG would work better on cast iron. But the gaps ended up being too horrendous for TIG. So I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and shoot MIG on it, see what happens. And I know I got good penetration on it. Now, whether or not it's damaged the cast iron, I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm going to have a screw through here into the wood that'll capture this fitting and the plate. And I've got the same thing going on down here at this end. So, all in all, what I've got right now is a one-piece metal header that connects all three of the mounting studs. I got cleanup work to do on it, obviously, but I've got the wood cooling off and making sure it doesn't catch on fire tonight. But basically, with that done, now we are truly into the let's build a Carson top. So the next video, what I'll be doing is I'll have this in the car and I'll start replacing the channels that were so cobbled up originally. So these, well, I'm not exactly sure if they're supposed to go back along the top of the window and then down the back of the window or not, but the way I'm going to be building the top, that's the way it's going to be. And so I'm going to have to figure out how to attach this at the front. And I know I can make the piece out of some, I think I've got 14 gauge over there. This is a heavier material than most of the sheet metal. And that's one of the reasons why I needed that Swag off-road finger brake, is because it will do pieces this thick, 19.5 inches long. It's a great piece. If you don't have one of them, get it. I got the You Weld It kit. Here again, my welds are so-so. I know I get good penetration. They're not the prettiest things in the world, but I know for a fact that I won't have anything like that right there. So at any rate, next video I'll be making these pieces. I'll probably go ahead and have it made up so that I can just take it over to the finger brake and start breaking pieces. And then I'm going to show what I'm going to do to go around the curve of the window, because my shrinker stretcher won't handle material this thick, and I really want to have this thick of material around the glass so that I have a good support so it doesn't sag. This one sagged horribly, in part because of the broken welds and then also the lack of support here in the center. When I build what I'm going to build for this, it's going to be a continuous channel all the way around the glass from this header on back, and get that in, and then I can start doing the bows. So listen, if you see something that you got questions about, because I know I cut away a lot on this video, just because I know that they end up being too long if I don't, particularly when I'm doing this kind of design on the fly work. If you got any questions, be sure and put a comment down at the bottom. Like the video, please. Go check out parts 1, 2, and 3, and subscribe. I really need you to subscribe to my videos. Hopefully I've got some things that I'm putting out there that are useful to you. If not useful, at least entertainment. Hey, look at the guy trying to do this who doesn't know what he's doing. At any rate, Chopper Bob Customs, like, subscribe, and comment, please, because I'd be glad to answer any comments or questions that you have, because I'd like to help you out in any way that I can. That being said, Chopper Bob out.